What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show, man. One of the first official shows of the WNBA season for me. Kind of been betting it just a little bit here and there. If you guys follow me on the Action Network app, you can see that. But I'm joined today by the legendary Marino. If y'all watch the Action Network shows, this is the main host over there. She's really great at her job. Maria, what's up with you? Let everybody know who you are.
What's up, Jay? What a nice little role reversal here. Me coming on your show, but thank you for the kind words. When you said legendary, I was like, oh my God, is he talking about me? Always appreciate you for coming on the shows on Action Network. So I had to return the favor.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. Yeah, and hopefully we can do more of these like once a week. Really, whenever you're ready. I need to definitely do more WNBA shows. I know that they have a huge break coming up for the Olympics or whatever, but like I definitely need to get more WNBA content out there and just like talking with people that are knowledgeable about the sport over there. So we'll have more WNBA shows for you guys, whether it's Maria. We'll try to get Turvey on here, maybe Sean Kerner or something at some point as well. We're going to definitely try to do more WNBA shows. Yep.
Plus, you're going to probably come on Buckets WNBA podcast for us soon over on Action. I know you're a regular on Buckets NBA, but, now and again, come on the W side of things.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for that too as well. Whenever you have a spot open for me next time, Maria, I'll be there for sure. But yeah, we got 4 games today. One of them starts in about an hour as well. So let's get down to business in this one. I always like to say, Maria, like I'm not here to waste the people's time. So I get down to business and we get to moving in this one. But first game up, let's go over here to the streets of Dallas in this one. Wings get 9.5 points at the house versus the Lynx. This line actually opened up at 7.5 for the Lynx. So that's the thing about WNBA. If you're really like into it with it, when these lines pop out, ever since Caitlin Clark has came, Maria, now they put lines out like a couple of days in advance. I actually really love it, to be honest with you. But this line opened up at 7.5, reached up to 11, but now you get some buyback on the Wings here, Maria. The Wings have been playing absolutely horrible. They've lost 11 straight games. They lost back-to-back games to the Mystics. We know that they're really missing Sabali over there as well. They finally got Natasha Howard back. But like obviously Sabali, that's their best player by far. They hadn't been playing much defense. They've been getting absolutely smoked in this one, Maria. But I do have a little angle on this game. It didn't always work, especially in the WNBA, because there's not really like sometimes the better team just wins, right? But I mean, come on, Maria. This has to be like a major letdown spot for the Lynx. It's not necessarily a bet on the Wings, but it's like if you look at the Lynx and what they just did, it's almost like winning a championship in season. I believe every player earned $100,000 as well for their Commissioner's Cup. What does it say?
Yeah, it was about half that. It was $500K total for the team. So I want to say around like $47K or so per player, roughly.
Still good.
Yeah, no, definitely nice little bonus, nice little bragging rights. I mean, you heard them after the game. Charles Reeve was like, yeah, you got to talk about us now. Like, I think they've been underrated kind of all season. And I liked them going into the season. I recommended taking their the over on their win total, which at the time was like 14.5, which was ridiculous, and to make the playoffs. And now they're looking like quite possibly the best team in the WNBA. But in terms of a letdown, I'm still hesitant here. Like, I know they're on pretty short rest. They were coming from New York. Obviously, this is a daytime game here on Thursday, and Dallas is not good. I just don't know if Cheryl Reeve lets this team have a letdown. She's like so, I don't know. She's just like so intense. And even like in the press conference after the game on Tuesday, she was like, yeah, we got it. We got Dallas. Like she was already talking about Dallas. So, but I'm curious to hear like how you want to attack it.
Yeah, so for me personally, I do like the Wings in the first half in this game. And I agree, like full game, you never know what could happen. And I know the Lynx are a really great team. They're one of the best teams in the WNBA. Like they've really exceeded expectations. Like you said, I mean, if you could have got 14.5 in their win total, one more win and you cashed it. They're 14-3 on the season, 13-4 against the spread as well. So against the spread record is even more crazy there as well. But there was a game versus the Wings that they just played on July 17th. And the Wings didn't even even have Enrique in there. And that line went all the way up to 14.5. And the Wings surprisingly covered their game and only lost by 12 points. So that was actually pretty crazy. They didn't have Natasha Howard. That was on the road as well. But I just feel like if you are a spot better, right? If you're looking at the stats from these two teams, the Lynx are way better. I'll tell you that right now. But just the spot wise, just like looking at the psychology of these of the spot of this game, obviously the Wings coming off 11 straight losses, so they are somewhat desperate for a win. They're probably not going to get it here, but I could see them coming out with at least a little bit of fight, a little bit of sense of urgency here. And the Lynx, I mean, if you just got almost $50,000 the other day, so I'm saying, I don't know about you, Maria, but I'm having a little drink, like I'm having a little toast.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? I'm
champagne in the locker room.
Something we gotta have at least a little bit of a party here. So that was a major milestone, and it could be somewhat of a letdown spot as well. We got the Wings next, even though we know that they want to win every single game. It's still like, you're not getting up to play the Wings. I mean, this has been somewhat like one of the worst teams in the WNBA right now. So it's just a light sprinkle for me, but I put a little something on the Wings in the first half, just trying to catch the Lynx a little bit sleeping here. This is a really sleepy spot as well, super early game. And so when I saw the time slot, I said this is even more of a letdown for the Lynx here with travel from New York, coming off an in-season championship game. I really don't like the spot here for the Lynx. They're the far better team, and obviously over the course of 40 minutes they could smack the Wings up, but for that first 20 minutes I do think the Wings can hang around. It was at plus 6.5, and then it's come down to 5.5. I like the Wings here plus 5.5 in the first half. It's just a little small play for me there, Maria. What do you think of the possible letdown for the Lynx there?
I think that's the perfect way to bet them. I would stay away from the full game. For me, it'd be Minnesota or nothing in the full game, especially with it now down to 9 or so. And you mentioned Minnesota against the spread has been money, 13-4. Dallas against the spread has been terrible, 6-10. And I think right now what's happening with Dallas too is you don't want to be the team that loses to the worst team or plays poorly against the worst team. So again, that's another reason why I would stay away from this full game. But in terms of the first half, like I think you definitely have something there, because think about it. Like even in the first half against the Liberty, the Lynx didn't look all that great. Like they were down 10, they got back in it. Obviously the Liberty are different, but still, like Cheryl Reeve is the type of coach where she can make adjustments at half and execute adjustments in the second half. And so like it's not imperative that they come out like blowing them out in the first half. So
exactly.
I really like that.
I like it. I'm on the Wings here, man. First half plus 5.5. Small play, but that's what I'm liking. Are there any props that you like in this game, Maria, or like any specific player that you feel like has a major advantage?
You know what? Now I'm kind of curious what Carlton's line is. Let me see what her points prop is right now, because she obviously played the game of her life on Tuesday. She had 23 points. I'm pretty sure she was 6 of 8 from 3. Yep. And I know this girl can shoot, but do we really think she's going to be shooting that well again, in this particular situation? Now there's nobody really, even Natasha Howard, she was once like the class of the league defensively. She's obviously coming off an injury. She doesn't like scare me that much. So I'm curious, how Minnesota is gonna be able to shoot the ball. But let me see. I'm pulling up the points right now. Let me see what Carlton's at.
I know her threes went up to 2.5. I know it was 1.5. It was 1.5 for the Commissioner's Cup, and then now it's at 2.5. Obviously, some you got to react to her going from 6 to 8, so they got to bump it up a little bit there.
So hold on, I feel like the books are not really respecting Bridget Carlton right now. Her points prop is at 9.5. She's scored in double digits in 5 of the last 6 games. So. Man. I mean, I said, I was just hating like she's not going to shoot that well again. But do you think she can get 10 points? I kind of do. So
I think so.
I think that's something to look at. And then in terms of threes, made threes 2.5. 2.5 plus money though. It's tempting, but I probably wouldn't go there just because of the 3-point shooting variance, and you never know. But I do tend to lean over on the 9.5 points. I just think she's been so central to what Minnesota has been doing well the last several games. And she is a key piece to what they're doing. So there you go.
Yeah, no, that 9.5 does seem a tad low, even though it could be like a little letdown spot. That 9.5, it seems super low. I'll be honest with you. It seems super low. I definitely, if I was to look at a prop in this game, I definitely take a stab at Carlton over 9.5 points there.
Yeah.
Talk you out. Well, you have anything else on this game, Maria? Or you want to get to the Sun?
I don't think so. Nothing else really stands out on this one.
Let's get to it. Wings first half plus 5.5 for me. I might have to, if they win, I might have to go get some wings today or something.
But I'll be honest with you though, Jay. I don't think I've bet on the Wings once this season. Like that's been like a rule of mine. I'm on principle. I don't bet on the Dallas Wings.
That's a good rule to have, to be honest.
Even though I support you in the first half.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm staying off from full game. It's just strictly a first half spot.
Yes.
Hopefully looking for a letdown spot for the Lynx, at least in the first 20 minutes of that one. Let's go over to the streets of DC in this one. Mystics getting 10.5 points at the house versus Connecticut Sun in this one, laying 10.5 on the road. Total sitting at 152, a really low total as well. And obviously you have the Sun. They're a far better team than the Mystics, even though the Mystics are coming off back-to-back wins. That was versus the Dallas Wings. You know what I'm saying? They actually have won 4 of the last 5 as well, Maria, and are 6-1 against the spread last 7 games. The Mystics have actually been playing really good ball lately, but they're still one of the worst teams in the WNBA, in my opinion. I mean, they only have one more win than the Dallas Wings. They're sitting at 4-13 straight up, but 10-6-1 against the spread. And we know that the Sun are probably going to be a little pissed off in this, Maria. In my opinion, the Sun might be like 3rd or 4th best team in the WNBA, but they're coming off back-to-back losses in this one. This is the first game of back-to-back. They play the Dream tomorrow, but the way that the Sun are built, in my opinion, I know that they're looking to smash whoever's in front of them after taking a couple losses versus the Aces and the Storm as well. So I don't really like this spot for the Mystics. Obviously, it's a ton of points, and you could have gotten the Sun at -8. This line opened up at 8, 8.5, up to 10.5 now, but it's still Connecticut Sun or nothing for me here, even though they're on the first game of back-to-back. I just feel like they might take out some frustration on the Mystics who really struggle to score sometimes, Maria. What do you think about this game?
Now, I agree with you about the frustration. I remember in the postseason last year when the Sun, they lost that game to the Lynx in like a blowout, which they could have ended the series, ended up having to go to Minnesota. And so I specifically bet on the Sun because of what I call pissed AT, aka, Alyssa Thomas is pissed and so she got to take it out on somebody. So I'm with you. It's Connecticut or nothing for me. I don't love the double digits though, because they haven't been that great against the spread. Like they have taken care of the teams they're supposed to take care of, but even against some of these like bottom half teams, they play close games. They don't really blow people out. And then they've ended up losing to the better opponents. And the other thing though to consider is Washington losing Carly Samuelson. I think she hurt her hand or something. That's a big loss. Like she's not like this big flashy name, but if you watch the Washington Mystics, if she is open from 3, she makes it like every time. And so you're losing a little bit of a scoring punch. I love Ariel Atkins, but I think it's going to be a tough task defensively. I think DeWanna Bonner is probably going to be on like a little bit, like this could be her sort of comeback game because she hasn't scored a lot the last couple of games. Aaliyah Edwards, I think, is also questionable. So if Aaliyah Edwards doesn't play, I definitely lean Sun even more. But I just feel like this is a scrappy team. They've been playing way better of late, even without Carly. I'm a little hesitant with it being 10.5 on either side.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, Maria. Shakira Austin's been practicing back with the team for like a week and a half. And it's almost just like the Mystics are just like, all right, she's good, but we're just gonna, I mean, they know they're not making the playoffs this year, Maria. So it's kind of like an NBA team. We know we're not making the playoffs. It's like, all right, why just rush our star player back? Like, you know what? It's crazy because Sykes had even came back for 1 game and then she's out again for a while. But it's almost like the Mystics like know their fate. And they know that they're not going to make the playoffs. It's like, all right, maybe let's try to go for that number 1 pick over there.
Well, seriously, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to rush your players back if there is a sliver of doubt, or even if they can just milk the extra time as long as they can. Like, it just makes sense for this team. It's unfortunate because you could see this team. They are scrappy. Like if Brittany Sykes wasn't hurt, and Shakira Austin wasn't hurt, like this would be a legitimate team that can compete. And they've been competing to your point, 10-6-1 against the spread. They've been in like almost every game. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, like I just don't see how they have enough against Connecticut.
Yeah, and without, like you said, without Samuelson, maybe this could be a Mystics team total under spot, because we know that the Sun are one of the best defensive teams in the WNBA. Let me just see what their team total is. If I had a play, it says 70.5, which is low as hell for a WNBA game, but I especially without Samuelson, no Shakira Austin out there, I could really see the Mystics really struggling to score in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sun were able to hold them to around 65 points. Like if they came locked in on the defensive end. So if I had a play for this game, I'd be taking the Mystics team total under 70.5, and that was especially with them down 3 stars in this one. And we can't forget that Della Dunn is sitting out this season as well. She's obviously the Mystics best player. It's almost like she was like, you know what? I don't see this team going anywhere this year. I'm just going to take a year off. I'll be back next year when we're ready to compete. We'll get the number 1 draft pick or something, and we'll be back. I'll be back next year when you guys are ready.
Yeah, to compete. I'm not sure about her. I feel like there were some contract things that she like just wanted to avoid, and she's had obviously some health issues. But I'm looking now at DeWanna Bonner's points, and this is actually a tip I got to shout out. I did a podcast yesterday called Bet She Wins, and one of the analysts on there, Danny Barlavi, liked Bonner over points, and I'm looking at that now. The line's 16.5, which is perfectly attainable for her. She's gone under this in the past 4 or 5 games. But like the last game against Seattle, she had 9 points. The game against Vegas had 6 points, and she's just a much better scorer than that. And I think this is the type of game, especially with Washington weaker on the perimeter. Carly Samuelson's small, but she is a feisty defender, but she's out of the picture. Like I feel like this is a game where Bonner's gotta like assert herself and kind of step up here. They need her. Like, prior to that stretch, I mean, she had 16, 17, 16, 20, 18. Like Bonner is, she's a stud scorer. So I feel like this is a game that she's got to go off.
That sounds like a bounce back J spot for me. Definitely couldn't talk you off taking DeWanna Bonner over her points. And you know what? Something to pair with it, like to couple with, just like the couple that they are. Alyssa Thomas assists over, and it could be paired with, she could be passing it to her wife a lot. You know what I'm saying? So hey, Bonner, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? We talked about this last night at the house. Hey, I gotta pass you the ball more. So Alyssa Thomas over her assists, and then DeWanna Bonner over
the only issue in like Alyssa Thomas right now, I'm seeing 7.5. It's plus money, which is tempting. It's just like, I know how good Alyssa Thomas is. It's just that number seems a little high.
She's going for a triple-double tonight.
Well, like I said, pissed AT, like that could definitely happen.
She's getting over 7.5 assists. I'm telling you that right now,
Marino. Okay. Yeah, because she did the last game against Seattle, she only had 3 assists, did have 14 boards though.
Yeah, she gets the boards.
The last 2 games had 7, and then before that 9. 7.5 though, man. If it was 6.5, I'd be all over this.
Yeah, Alyssa Thomas triple-double tonight. I think that's. I wonder what.
Do we have odds for that? Let's see.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's
to record a triple-double, Alyssa Thomas plus 750.
Yeah, that's cashing.
That's a little.
Where is that? FanDuel?
I just pulled up FanDuel. I don't have anything else pulled up right now, but
she's getting that. She's getting that tonight. She's getting over that assist. She's getting the rebound. It's hard for her to score points. She's not the greatest scorer, but versus this Mystics, I think Thomas. If we see pissed off AT. And I've heard the coach say before too, like we wanted her to get the triple double. So if she's close to it, they're gonna leave her in there to get it. I don't think she's gotten one so far this season. I think she gets her first triple double of the season. I actually think Alyssa Thomas will be an outside. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue up against Fisher Collier right now, but I think Alyssa Thomas. Like if it depends on who have the better record out of the Lynx or the Sun, I think Collier or Thomas get MVP this year. That's just what I think. That's what I think. I know that that A'ja Wilson's the heavy favorite. I do not think she's winning MVP this year. I'm sorry.
Well, I've been saying the same thing. I mean, Asia's been phenomenal. Like she's head and shoulders been the best player, but I always feel like the standings have to come into play. So we have to see where they are in the second half of the season. Because if the Aces don't get in that top 3, maybe top 4, because I do think some of the voters from last year probably, which I hate. I feel like you got to go by the year, you got to go by the circumstance, but it's just human nature. Like a lot of the voters, I think, feel like they were put in their place when they didn't vote for A'ja, and then she went out and had the postseason that she had. And so there's a bit of a carryover narrative from last year to this year that I think works in Asia's favor. That being said, you know, Napheesa Collier has been in the MVP combo. Alyssa Thomas definitely has been. She probably should have been the MVP last year, in my opinion. She had the most first place votes. But again, the Sun, like, I don't know if they're dominant enough either, because they just lost to they haven't been able to beat the good teams. So, but I have to say, earlier, like very early in the season, there was a game I watched. It was maybe like one of the first games. Alyssa Thomas triple-double. I went and put in, you know, a few dollars on her to win MVP, because I was like, here we go. I got it at like, I think plus 750. But I certainly like Collier. But yeah, I think like to me, you can't just give the MVP to A'ja if the Aces aren't, you know, playing like one of the best teams. But look, we got a long way to go, and they're certainly looking a lot better since they brought Chelsea Gray back, and they're playing today too.
Yeah, she's won we're about to get to that game right now. She's won 2 MVPs already right now. So I want to see it go to someone that's not won it yet. Collier or Alyssa Thomas. If one of those two teams have one of the first or second best records in the league, it has to go to them. I'm sorry.
I'm with you.
Yeah, let's get over here though. Let's go. Let's talk about the Aces. Let's go over to the streets of Chicago in this one. Sky getting 11 points at the house versus the Aces in this one. Another line that opened up at -8 for the Aces, up to 11 now. Maria, what do you think about this game?
11 is a little bit like I'm tempted to go Sky here. I know it's scary. I know they're the big bad Aces. The Sky are a very scrappy team. Like I don't expect them to win this game at all, but they're playing with some confidence right now. I mean, they only beat the Fever by 1. I get that. But they just, I don't know, there's something about the Sky, man. Teresa Weatherspoon, like, she has them playing hard. Effort, you know, every game. They're very scrappy defensively. We will see. Like, it's hard for me to justify betting the Sky, but I think I would lean for them to cover at this line. Like, I think they can lose by 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, my guy AZ in the chat, he was the first commenter. He was like, he likes Sky plus 10.5 today. It's Aces or nothing for me. I don't like that it's a win up, unfortunately, because the Sky have been balling, but they're coming off a huge win versus the Fever as well. So, like, obviously, we know that they were turned up for that Fever game, but the Aces, I feel like they're starting to get into their groove, Maria, and the Sky coming off back-to-back wins, but versus the Fever and versus the Wings as well. So while they are a very scrappy team, they're still only 2-7 against the spread last 9 games. So the Sky, they're one of those teams that started out really well and then are kind of like starting to slow up and show their youth. Like, they're a great team. I love like Kennedy Carter, Angel Reese, Cardoso as well. This was like the second tallest player in the WNBA. So they could give the bigs for the Aces some problems, but I just feel like the Aces got way too much offense for them. Like, you know, with Chelsea Gray back, they get to run and gunning. Kelsey Plum, A'ja Wilson, like they can just put up 90 points, 100 points on you at any time. So Aces are nothing for me in this game, even though it does look like a huge number. I could only look towards the Aces in this game.
Yeah, because it's interesting because the Aces were not covering these big numbers. Like, when the season started, they were getting way too much respect from the books, and they were getting these big numbers, and they weren't covering. But they were also, you know, without Chelsea Gray at that time. Exactly. Chelsea Gray, it's interesting, she's come off the bench last couple games because she's obviously like working her way back. And we haven't had a matchup between these two teams yet this season. So I'm really curious, like just what the rotations are going to look like and who's guarding who. But Kennedy Carter and, you know, I gotta, I think it was another guy I follow, Calvin Wetzel, that brought up Kennedy Carter points. Since she's in the starting lineup now. She was coming off the bench and she was easily 6th player of the year. Like she comes in, she's immediate offense. I actually think she might be the toughest player one-on-one to guard. Like ISO, she has the best combo of like handles, can get to the rim. Like she can score on pretty much anybody. And like, is Kelsey Plum going to match up against her? Cause like Kelsey Plum doesn't scare me a whole lot defensively. Sorry, KP. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. And then also with the bigs. Okay. So you got Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. Like Asia is obviously very good defensively. Kia Stokes, I guess, is kind of known for defense. She doesn't play as much. And I'm just wondering, like, I think one of those two are going to be able to get some. I just don't know which. Like, because Angel, yeah, she's feeling herself. Like, she's cooking Nalissa Smith, but Asia Wilson isn't Nalissa Smith. So I don't know if Angel's going to be able to, like, keep that double-double streak alive quite yet. I don't want to be hating, but I'm not sure about this matchup. Like, I'm really curious to see who's going against who and all that, like how that plays out.
Yeah, and you know I can't think of her name right now. The Aces coach, what's her name?
Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond, yeah. So you know that she's the type of coach that's like, oh, okay, Angel Reese has this streak, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Sky or Ball, or they think they're nice because I remember the last time I did a WNBA show was with my guy Chris, and he was on the Lynx that day. And I was like, all right, I know the Aces are gonna come into this game, and they didn't have Chelsea Gray yet. And I said the Aces are gonna come into this game like, oh, okay, you Lynx, you've been doing all right. I knew that the coach was gonna get them turned up, like, all right, look what they've been doing. Let's turn up. Like let's put some water on their fire. And I just felt like obviously this is a huge number for the Aces to be laying on the road. They're going obviously cross country as well. I mean, it's not too bad, but still going from Vegas to Chicago. So they're laying a big number. It opened up at 8, but it's still Aces are nothing for me here. I just feel like the Sky, sometimes they can be a little bit overwhelmed. Like I say, they are a younger team, but maybe if you like the Sky, you have to take Carter points over, because if she doesn't go off or have a great game offensively, I think it's gonna be really tough for them to keep up with the Aces offense. Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Asia Wilson. Then you got Chelsea Gray, whether she's coming off the bench or starting, she's just literally lit a fire under this team, man. So Aces are nothing for me here. A lot of people in the chat are liking the over as well. Leg Show Magazine says the safe bet on this one's over. Andrew likes the over as well. Yeah. And so maybe you could just go with Aces team total over as well.
Yeah.
9.5. Yep. So I'd lean toward the over in this one.
Just for the heck of it, I'm just going to go ahead and look this up. Like Angel Reese rebounds is at 10.5. Like I know she's been crazy on the boards. Like I honestly don't know how she does it. Like she just has a nose for the ball. Like she definitely has that Dennis Rodman type. Like somehow she comes up with the ball all the time.
What is her points at?
Let me see. Points.
So I feel like even if she gets the boards, they're probably gonna make it I feel like they're gonna do their best to make sure she doesn't get a double-double tonight.
13.5.
I would take the under. I'd take the under. I like the under 13.5. Because I mean she can still get 10 and mess around, get her though, but 13.5 points. I don't see Reese getting 13.5 tonight. I'm sorry. I just don't.
And then the other one I brought up to you was Cardoso. Her points are at 10.5.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like, again, like that's the beauty of that team is like, okay, if you're dialed in on like, I don't think the Aces are going to be undisciplined and start like doubling Angel Reese. I don't think you need to do that. I don't think she's like that, so good offensively that you need to double her. But Cardoso is huge. She's 6'7", like, I don't know, 10.5.
I feel like Cardoso, she probably has the better matchup in this game, in my opinion. Because I think Angel Reese, like so who's taller out of Stokes and Asia Wilson? Do you know?
Probably Stokes.
So they're probably gonna I feel like Asia Wilson's gonna be like, no, I want Angel Reese. Like she thinks she's coming in and you're a badass and all that. I got something for your ass. I actually really like Angel Reese under 13.5 points. To be perfectly honest with you, like I really.
So, pardon me, Asia apparently, according to Google, is an inch taller than Kia. They're listing Asia at 6'4".
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cardoso has a major advantage over each one of them on the boards and on the plate.
Asia's also more athletic. Like she can jump and alter shots a lot better. But Cardoso, I've been impressed with her ability, especially as a rookie. She keeps the ball high and she's very good at finishing. So yeah, like I want to pull up Cardoso's game log real quick. So yeah, she's had. Hey, I mean, I kind of lean the over 10.5. She's gotten double digits in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the last 6 games.
Damn.
And the one she didn't, she had 9 points. And again, their opponents haven't been great.
Yeah.
But that's
four bad teams. Yeah, they played 5 of their last 6 games.
I know, we're bad teams.
6 of their last 7 games have been bad games, but they did give the Sun all they can handle. I remember because they were getting 7.5 points and they barely didn't cover their game. But I would go with Reese under 13.5 points. I think that's a really good look there. I think they're going to be like Becky Hammond will be like, all right, look what this youngster's doing. She thinks she's coming in. She thinks she's all letting a bag of chips, and she could be. But I know the way the Aces are built, and they're going to make sure that it's going to be really tough for her tonight. I think Reese under 13.5 points. I low key like love that play, to be honest.
Okay, all right, low key, high key. Yeah.
One more game here, Maria. Right. One more game. I don't really have much on this game. Storm laying 9. We're going to the streets of Seattle on this one. The Storm laying 9 points at the house versus the Indiana Fever in this one. Total sitting at 168. I just know that the Fever are over team. They have started to play a lot better defense as well, but the way that they run and gun on offense, and they're still not the greatest defensive team. I feel like this is a total over team. Their last 8 games have went over. 9 of the last 10 games for the Fever have went over. So, I mean, it just speaks a little volumes to what I'm saying. Now, the Fever also been covering spreads, Maria. They've won 4 of the last 5. They're 5-0 against the spread last 5 games. And then when these two teams played earlier, 103, was that regular season or not?
So I'm seeing it. I got it right here. So the last time they played was Thursday, May 30th.
Yeah.
103-88. But they played them earlier in May and only lost by 2.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like which kind of team we're gonna see here. I actually think that I'm hopeful that the Fever are gonna be more prepared. They're gonna look way better than they did the last time. So what's the line again?
Playing a lot better. +9. You can get +9. You can even get +9.5 with the Fever. If you want the Fever, there's 9.5s out there. If you want the Storm, then you can still lay 9 as well. And the line opened up at 8, so you could. So there's been some money coming for the Storm. We know that. I mean, the Storm are the better team. I'll tell you that right now. But that doesn't mean that. I mean, a better team doesn't always win. They damn sure don't always cover as well. So, but we did just see the Storm take care of the Connecticut Sun, beat them by 11 points. They are at the house. They play a lot better at the house. I feel like the Storm had a rocky start to the season, but we knew that this was going to be one of the top 4, top 5 teams in the WNBA this year, especially with them getting Gumake over there. Then who's the point guard? She's slipping my
Skylar Diggins.
Skylar Diggins, Skylar Diggins. So I mean, they're starting to really get into form here. Jewel Lloyd is starting to play a lot better as well. So they do have a lot of weapons here. I would just go with the over, because like you say, it could definitely be a game because the Fever are starting to figure things out. They're figuring how to play with Kaylin. They're running off certain screens and stuff. Kelsey Mitchell and Alyssa Smith, like Aaliyah Boston, like they're playing. They got a little squad over there. I was telling people, man, the Fever got a little squad. They're gonna be something, but they're just a perfect over team. Not the greatest defensively, have a really great offense, run at a high pace. I mean, 8 straight overs. I'm just saying,
I'm totally with you there because I am a little hesitant on the side just because we've seen 2 totally different games. The first 2 matchups, one was 2-point game, the other one was a blowout. So I'm like, what is it going to be here? But I'm actually looking up the box score from the last game because so Kelsey Mitchell has been a bucket. I mean, we already knew she was a bucket for the Fever. Like she was their leading scorer last year. And she is very consistent. The last time they played when the Storm blew out the Fever, she had 14 points. But let me look at her game log here. 24, 18, 22, 17, 24. So like, let's just look up her line real quick, just because I like to, get a sense for this. Sorry if I'm going long here, but
no, you're all right, dude.
Yeah.
We're trying to get some money here.
Yeah, so this is good because I'm workshopping everything with you. Yeah, her line's at 16.5. I mean, I do think they need her to score in order for the Fever to be competitive. I don't know that they're gonna cover the full game, but I do think they're gonna be competitive in this game.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I can see that. I can definitely see. I mean, the Fever have been competing with everybody after the rough start. They've had a rough start to the season as well. But it's I would rather play the hard teams early and then have an easier schedule later, because like that's preparing you for the season. You don't want to have an easy schedule and then start to play the hard teams. Then you'll, what I'm saying, it's not good for your mindset. So I always rather go through the storm first and then the sunshine. You see what I'm saying? No pun intended.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the sun didn't shine when they were playing the sun. I'll tell you that. They looked horrible. That's probably like their worst matchup, but I feel bad. They had to play them 3 times in like the first however many games.
And then the Liberty too. They had to play the Liberty a bunch of times.
3 times. The Fever got such a shitty start to the schedule. But to your point, I do think it's better because I don't know that they were going to necessarily beat those teams anyway. So you might as well get them out of the way. And then you saw when they started to get some more rest and practice, they started to play way better and with more confidence. I still, I like them. I'm hoping anyway that they sneak into the playoffs. I think
they're getting there.
It's going to be.
It's happening, Maria.
I think the Sky can get in there too. So, but it's going to be
the dream. If the Dream keep playing like this and they can miss a play, I think it's a little bit of conspiracy, Jay. Like, I talk about this type of stuff. I don't really say it on the Action Network shows, but on my show, I say whatever I want. And conspiracy, I just like the Fever have to be in the playoffs. They have to. It's way too much money for the WNBA, Maria. I mean, they literally have. I mean, they don't have to. Obviously, you hope that no injury. But if there's no injury, and just not even conspiracy wise, just the way that they've been playing lately, they've shown that they're getting better every single game. They're starting to know how to play with Caitlin Clark. I think the Fever, I've been noticing them, Kelsey Mitchell, Alyssa Smith, Aaliyah Boston. I remember last year that team made me some money. So now they have an actual point guard that can run the team. Wait till they get that player back that came off the bench. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Temi Fagbenle.
Her. So when she's a dog. She's a dog.
Oh my god.
When they get her back, they the Fever are making the freaking playoffs.
I like it. I mean, I already bet I bet over their win total. I think I got it at 13.5, which I feel pretty good about. Yeah. And I also bet the night before Chicago played the Fever, because I had a feeling that Chicago might beat the Fever, because I was like, I don't know if they're going to beat this team 3 times. So I bet Chicago Saturday night to make the playoffs at plus 180 or something like that. So I'm rooting selfishly. I am rooting for Atlanta not to figure it out, Dallas not to figure it out.
Yeah. No, the Wings are finished.
And Chicago to be really in it and playing meaningful games late in the season.
I think it's gonna be out of the Sky and the Dream. I think the Storm. I think the Sparks, the Mystics, and the Wings are all pretty much my opinion. Anything can change, but Sparks and Mystics definitely not making it. But I think the Wings. I don't think they're getting there. I think it's gonna be out of the Sky and the Dream to get that last playoff spot. But Fever, they're in there.
Yeah, because I just feel like even if Satu Sabali comes back, I feel like Dallas is going to be in too deep a hole, and there's too many other good teams that are going to be competing. So I do wonder about that. But I got to say, the more that we're talking about this, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited for this game tonight. This might be the game, the Indiana-Seattle game, I think is a little actually both. I got to say, both of the games on Prime tonight, the Vegas, Chicago, and Indiana-Seattle, they're kind of sexy matchups. I'm kind of I think I'm going to be dialed in tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll be at the house. We got to go to the gym for about 2-3 hours. And then after that, I'll be at the house pretty much all night. So I'll definitely be watching some WNBA tonight. But let's get out of here, Maria. We went through all 4 games. Let's recap. I know for me, I made a small play on the Wings in the first half, plus 5.5 versus the Lynx. Like a situational spot. The Wings, I'll tell you straight up, they cannot fuck with the Lynx. But what I'm hoping is we don't see the best version of the Lynx, at least for this first 20 minutes there. So that's what I'm banking on. going. I know that they're a much better team. The Wings are playing like absolute ass. They've lost 11 straight, but it's a spot that I'd live and die with. Wings first half plus 5.5. If I was betting the Sun Mystics game, which I don't really have a too strong look, but I would look at Alyssa Thomas over her 7.5 assists and possibly sprinkle on a triple double there, and also lean towards Mystics team total under, and then Aces Sky. What was I? Oh, Angel Reese under 13.5 points. I think is a really great look there. And then the Fever Storm, I would just go with the over and now. And to be perfectly honest with you, what do you like?
Totally. Well, back in Minnesota, I am tempted to go back to the well with Carlton over 9.5 points, just because even though I think there's going to be a letdown, and I don't think she's going to shoot the lights out again, I still think she could probably get to 10, especially if we still expect Minnesota to win. I'm definitely intrigued by the Reese Cardoso stuff. So what I would say is I'll probably make some decisions. I may decide to place a few bets as we, later in the day. So follow me on the Action app and you'll see if I bet something. But yeah, I'm definitely, there's something there prop wise that I'm interested in with Reese Cardoso, maybe Kennedy Carter over her points, and Washington and Connecticut. Like I said, I'm curious about Dee Bonner, but I don't know if I'm going to go. I think it was 16.5. I'm tempted. And then, Indiana, Seattle. What was the other one? Maybe Kelsey Mitchell. Or I might just sit back and enjoy that one because, Caitlin Clark's a very difficult person to bet her props because, number one, she affects the game in so many different ways from game to game. And two, her props are still just like inflated. Like the numbers are still like probably a little bit higher than they should be just because they know that people are going to be betting her. So, but that doesn't mean I'm not intrigued to see how they adjust and play this Seattle squad. So.
Yep, and another 4 tough games for them tonight versus Seattle. Then they're going up against Phoenix, who's playing a lot better. Then Vegas, then New York again. So really tough spread. No, it's okay. It's all right. They're going to be covering some of these spreads. Like I hope they get like 15 points versus the Aces. I'll be all over that shit. That's July 2nd too. Hopefully they get like 15 points versus the Aces. I would love that. I'll be all over that shit.
Sweet.
But it's a great show, Maria. Like if you guys are looking where to find her, you can go and find her on Twitter. What's your Twitter, Maria?
Yeah, at Maria C. Marino. So that's where you can find me on X, Instagram, and Action app.
Got you. Yep. Go follow her on the Action Network app as well. Go follow everybody, man. It's a really great app. I always tell people, go download the Action Network app. It's all free. You can follow bettors. You can track your picks as well. It's all free picks. It's a lot of different type of things that you can do over there. Whether it's WNBA, we're in the thick of MLB baseball right now as well. They had stuff for the draft over there. Literally, whatever you like to bet. It could be soccer, man. It could be. Probably got some shit on water polo over there. Literally, whatever you like to bet. Obviously, NFL's coming up. Like they have all the tools, articles, podcasts to get you going, getting you ready to bet, my guys. So go download the Action Network app. I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat has already. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. It's all love. I hope everybody has a great day, and we will be back at some point with more WNBA shows, and also have a WNBA podcast on the Action Network app as well with Maria, the main host over there, man. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We out, my guys. Let's go. Come on, let's catch.